In considering the child care of our children, we must provide their care in environments that help them thrive, ones that show them they can do more than just survive, and find families who will love them and provide for them the confidence to grow. Then they can take the risk to learn all they need to know. And we know that if we just let our children be, they may not be at all.
When Bunny Wilburn, our founder, established BCDI Seattle in 1973, she did so with the premise that she holds to this very day: take good care of the children.
She saw the importance not only of the vision and the values, but she saw the importance of dealing with ordinary people to get, as Dr. Stewart would say, extraordinary results.
I would just say that it was truly a paradigm shift, and it was, again, BCDI and the community saying, you know, again, who if not us, and that we will be the ones to speak for and take action for our children. And we were going to set high standards and have high expectations for these programs, and a lot of that work is still going on today.
First and foremost, our work is advocacy. We are an advocacy organization. We are advocating for public policy, and we are advocating for best practice that improves the quality of life for African American families and children.
That's Bunny Wilburn's legacy of leadership and volunteerism, because she understood that we may not all be famous, but we all can be great because we all can serve.
Child welfare has been an essential part of BCDI's program throughout the years. And what I think has made us very successful in this arena is that we have the ability to work with and the desire to work with not only the community, the families that have foster children, or the families whose children are going into the foster care system or the child welfare system. And we both look at the programs as well as the policy. And I think that's the strategy that makes us successful, that we're not focusing only on community outreach and how we get people together, but we're looking at that collaborative aspect of working with the leadership in DSHS and Children's Administration specifically to make lasting changes. I know our success today in working with the child welfare system and working with Children's Administration and the community is really built on the foundation that was laid when Sadikifu was the president of BCDI and first brought the concerns and issues about what was happening with African American children in the child welfare system to our attention.
It really was our national office, the National Black Child Development Institute, that offered us the opportunity to look at data in our own region, Region 4 of the Department of Social and Health Services.
I think the ability to pair the data with real life situation, like why was the number of African American children and families disproportionately out? And also we did the survey with the social workers. So
services,
right.
Culturally
So
relevant
bringing
services.
all of that together, I think, you know, marrying that with the data really helped us come up with some strategies around how to bring the right people to the table in order for us to not only appropriate plan, do the data, but also then move to the next step.
BCDI has a huge footprint in this area of work. And speaking of C2P2, which is a culturally competent professional practice, I was fortunate to manage the Office of African American Children's Services. And I can tell you how much influence that practice has had on not just the practice here in Region 4, where the old Region 4, but the whole state.
Always at the forefront is, what do parents want? How can we help them address their needs? I can remember the voice of Zakia Stewart around education saying, what is it you'd like for us to do? What can we do with you? And it's always was a with you, because there's many, I think, organizations that speak on behalf of and speak for, but very seldom speak with the constituents that they're supposedly representing. And I think that's something that we really hold as a key element of who we are.
One of the elements that I appreciate about BCDI and the legacy of Dr. Stewart is the commitment that all the people at BCDI have to doing this work, not just in education, but in other arenas as well.
I kept thinking, oh, well, what can I do as just one person? But she was very clear, well, you can do more with a parent, and you can do more for a parent than a parent can do by themselves.
How would we work with schools? How would we do advocacy? How would we get the school district to begin to look at the plans that they had developed over 10 years, maybe 12 years, without any sort of result that would say this is how we would spread good work throughout the district?
Right. It's really, really difficult work, but BCDI has not been afraid of hard work.
I was involved with the creation of the Reaching Back, Giving Back project, which was a special project that we started to help mentor young people who were incarcerated at the Juvenile Justice Center in Seattle. Out of that came some best practices, and my understanding, Deborah, was that it set up the creation of Royal.
Royal was founded in 1998 by Society of Counsel representing accused persons. The public defense law firm has been working with this population for the last 12 years and very successfully so. We have a 75% success rate in raising our youth as leaders at keeping the kids out of the juvenile justice system. They do not reoffend.
We were using the notion of evidence-based practice long before the mainstream systems began to talk about evidence-based practice. So we take the outcomes of our research and Reaching Back, Giving Back, went into the community, as I recall, and asked folks, what do we think was accounting for these extraordinary numbers of youth being incarcerated, and what did they need in terms of prevention and remediation to prevent any recidivism?
What BCI doing is very important, and connecting with youth that are experiencing it is something that, some people forget to do, because you can't really get the true story and what really works unless you go to the forefront, to the front line, and talk to these youth about what it is that they need and how it is that they want to support.
Well, we actually started, I know it's over 20 years ago, and we wanted to provide financial assistance to students to help them pursue their educational dreams. So we started, Carol Wells was the first scholarship chairperson.
Yeah, I remember Carol.
And we would give 2 $1,000 scholarships each year. And I remember our first 2 recipients, one was from Garfield and one was from Nathan Hill. And they were attending Morehouse College and Boston University.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a continuing thing. I know Carol did it for over 10 years.
One of the scholarships that I was a part of awarding was for Mazzani, actually. And that was really a pleasure, because I think that year we had like 9 or 10 applicants. And I just remember specifically looking at your application and just really feeling this application is really a great application that she touched on. BCDI, she touched on what she was, what school she was applying for, what her interests were, and so it was really good to be able to award that scholarship to Mazzani.
Community involvement, that was very important, to be connected to the African American community. And this young lady here has done more than a lot of people. Do you want to talk about some of the community involvement you have and how your scholarship has helped you and where you're going and what your first year was like?
Sure. Well, I was involved. I probably didn't start getting involved until like my junior year in high school. That's when I really started getting myself really involved with the youth ministry at my church, Mount Zion, Yvonne, And then also starting the FBLA here at Garfield, and which is Future Business Leaders of America, and then also just continuing to work with organizations that I went through as a freshman, like the YWCA Girls First program, and I also was involved with the YMCA Black Achievers program, and just all those. It just really helped me expand and really learn about what I want to do when I am able to go to college and whatnot. So getting the scholarship was actually really cool because my major is political science and business administration with a concentration in finance. Mm-hmm. And as a child, I really didn't like math that much. And my teachers didn't really think I was that great at math. I didn't think I was that great at math. But Dr. Hackett, which was one of the programs through BCDI, actually came and tutored me at the African American Academy. And since then, I really liked math, and I started to work on my math and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So pretty much after she tutored me in a bunch of different subjects, I really started to understand that, okay, maybe I can, be something more and really excel in academically.
And did it help you while you were at school, knowing that you had people on the West Coast back home who supported you, who cared about how you were advancing, and to kind of keep you going when maybe you would miss home?
It's really nice to know that, okay, when I get back to Seattle, there's this whole community waiting for me to come back and to see how I did and to see how I've grown over this past year or this last semester.
The Black Child Development Institute believes that our children are our future. Right now, she's a sweet thing with eyes that twinkle when she looks, but she is our future. And he's a beautiful child with lips that glisten as he babbles and coos, and he is our future. And we ask the question, how will they grow, and who will teach them to look with their eyes to find the right direction? Their ways may be childlike now, but soon he will enter manhood, she will become a woman, and then they, like us, will be expected to speak about the injustices they see and praise the goodness they find.